Okay, so the purpose of this video is to talk about navigating Windows. Recently, I've noticed that kids are struggling with the basics of navigating Microsoft Windows. That's the operating system to making your computer work. Students today have been raised in app-based devices and have not had the exposure to computers that previous cohorts of students and many people my age have, so they already come into class knowing how to use a computer. So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about how to use a computer, talking about how to navigate files, things of that nature. These next bunch of videos are aimed towards doing that thing, so you know how to turn a computer on and do what you need to do with it, or what I think you need to do with it for sure. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the desktop. The desktop is here itself. We're going to start out by talking about this is a school computer. The purpose of this video, while of course to show you how to use the school computer, I'd also like to address some things so that when you have your own home personal computer, you know how to use it and you know why or when we might do certain things. So I'm going to show you how to personalize a couple of things on your computer. You should not personalize your school computer. Your school computer is set up a certain way so that it works the way we want it to work, and we make sure we can ensure a couple of things. So when you first turn your computer on, you log on and you're all ready to go. It's going to bring up your desktop. That's this big yellow area here. It just happens to be yellow because that's the wallpaper. That's the picture, the color in the background. You can change your wallpaper if you go to personalized and go to desktop background. Just choose a different one. It save changes. You see it can change the color in the background. Now, you're not supposed to do this. So if I see your computer changed in the wallpaper in the background, it's my assumption that you are changing the background or changing and personalizing your computer, and I don't want you to do that. So make sure you're keeping it to this. But if you're on your home computer and you want to set it to whatever, a picture from the internet or something, you know, that you took a picture of on your cell phone, whatever, you can do that. It's just we don't want that done here. But really the purpose of me talking about that is to better explain where the desktop is, and that's basically all of this. When you open it up, you should at least see your recycling bin, and then any programs that you've downloaded to the computer should be sitting out here, many of them at least, with a shortcut. Definitely not all. The one, for example, this is the iSpring FreeCam 8. It's the program that I use to make these videos, so if you ever find yourself looking for software to be able to do that, I recommend this one. I've had good luck with it, and it's free. So that's your desktop in the background. After we talk about the desktop, we should talk about the taskbar. The taskbar is a place where the start button exists, which we'll talk more about. The Internet File Explorer is right here. Any shortcuts, you can put shortcuts down here as well, because so like when you have stuff open, right? So if this is open, you can see I can still get to this, so I don't have to go to the desktop to get to this stuff. I can just pull it off the taskbar. So stuff that I use all the time, lots of times I'll keep down here. Another thing is, if I have Word open, any programs that I have open, all of a sudden it's going to show me that down here so that I have a preview of that. And then if I go and I make a second file, and I'm just going to put a little bit of text in this one so I can tell the difference between the two. But if I hold my mouse down here, I can see a preview of the one I have open and the one that I put text in and the one that I didn't. So if I wanted to open one or the other, I could click on one from there and it'll open it. So we'll close that out. And again, you can do all of that while being able to see. So I have Word open, but I can still see my taskbar. I can't see my desktop. So I'm going to close these things. I'm going to say no to saving that. Another interesting way to do this, if you want to close a whole bunch of them at once, you can hit close. Well, if I had two of them open at the same time here, so if I had a file new, just some good little handy things as you're working. But I have more than one opener. I can say close all windows, and it'll close both at the same time. So just shortcuts, ways to make things easier. Talking about the File Explorer, that's down here near the Start menu. If I open that up, it's going to get me shortcuts to a lot of the places that I commonly need to go. For this class, the place that you're going to need to go the most is to your network folder. This is mine. They house all of the teacher stuff in the Z drive. I'm not sure exactly what drive yours is in right now. Sometimes it's been the P, but either way, you'll know it's yours because it'll be identified by your first name, so here, or your last name. So my username is DuffM. You know, yours is going to say the first two numbers of your graduation year, and then you and your last name, and then your first initial. But that'll be here, so that's where that is. Some of the other places that you might need to go to, we're not going to talk about those today, but other places that are housed on the network here at school. Your C drive is someplace that you really probably won't go to while you're here at school, because all of the systems that are in place to make the computer work are on your C drive. But the places you would need to get to is like your hard drive. Like all of these places are housed on the C drive. So these are shortcuts to places that you can navigate to in here. Again, really something more for your home computer, not really for your school computer. But some of the places that you might need to get to, like your desktop, right? My documents, so things that you might save files into my documents, that's common. Downloads, anything that you download to the computer will end up in that area. Any music files that you might have, any pictures or videos that you might have, all of those you could keep in these to keep organized. And then we'll talk about more about files and folders later, but this is where all of these things are in a later video. So the last couple things, if I go back to, actually I'll open this up for my example, I guess. Some things that you might not know how to go. If you want to move your folder, so this is your folder around and this is open as a program, you can drag this around if you grab anywhere in this like title area. So I can pull that around and move it. If I want to minimize it to the taskbar down here at the bottom, I can do that. I'll click on it, open it back up, maximize it to make it full screen. Another good habit of getting into, one that you're going to use in class a lot, is if I take it, and I have my mouse ball, I'm holding it down, and I drag it into the side. You see how it gives you a preview that it's going to open up half screen? I pull away, that goes away. So my mouse is still being held down. If I let go, it'll split my screen in half. In class, what we're going to do a lot is we're going to, like, say, go to your network folder, right? And then you're going to go, and I'm going to open up another window. So if I right-click on here and I go to File Explorer, it'll open up a second window. So I'm going to split screen with that also. Then I'm going to drag it over here so that I have two half screens. So if I wanted to drag whatever, this is just something that I had in my folder from somebody else, into the shortcut folder. So let's see, IED. Oh, no, that's not where I want to be. Well, I can go here. IED and then Atoms and then shortcuts IED. If I wanted to drag something into the hand-in folder, right, like we're going to do, we've already kind of done this in other videos, but I can take this and I can drag it where it needs to go. And now I'm just price product evolution. I can drop it in there, right? And so now that file is in there. There's trotter.product evolution, right? But we talked about this in other files, and we'll talk about it more later. So the other thing I want to talk about before we're done is down here in the Start menu, you have different shutdown options. So if I hold my, not just hold my mouse, don't click on anything, just leave my mouse sitting here, it gives us the, whatever it is, 7 different options. One would be to switch a user. So if I'm sitting at my computer and I want to let somebody else log on to it, but I don't want to lose everything that I have open, right? Like maybe I've got programs and a video and everything open, I can go to switch user, and that will allow that to happen. If I am done with the computer for the day, but it's not the last block of the day and I'm not turning it off, I can go to log off, which will bring up the login screen. It'll close everything on my screen and then allow somebody else to log onto it. I can go to lock. So if you come up with a pass for the bathroom and you have to run to the restroom, but you don't want someone to mess with the computer, it's a great idea to hit the lock screen. So then they'll need a password to get back into it so you can make sure nobody's going to mess with any of your work. The sleep button is really probably something more for home, or like, actually it could be used after school. So if you're staying after school and you know you have me the next day and you have something open that you don't want to close for one reason or another, maybe you're having a hard time keeping it or you don't trust that it's going to save, you can go to sleep or hibernate. Sleep is usually something where, like, say if we came in and you had lunch, right, and you wanted to turn your computer off because you're very eco-friendly, and so you want to turn the computer off so that when you come back on, you know, it basically turns off most of the power. So it's almost like shutting it down, but when you come back in and you shake the mouse or you hit the enter key, it'll wake it up. Whereas hibernate, it'll turn, and so when it does that, it saves it to the RAM. That's temporary storage, so it'll be able to access it quickly. If it is an overnight kind of situation, and you know you're going to be in here first thing the next morning because you were after school at the end of the day, you can go to hibernate. And hibernate will just make it so that tomorrow when you come in, you open your computer back up. As long as you sit in the same place and nobody else has sat there after you, it'll go right back to your spot, but it'll use even still less power. Restart, if you, kind of obvious, if you restart your computer, it'll shut it down and immediately bring it back up and allow you to log on again. But you will, anything that you had open, it's going to close. So you have to make sure you save stuff. And then the shutdown is obviously shutting it down, which is something that we should do at the end of every single day, as well as put your keyboards and mice up. Your deliverable for this, we have our 2 split screens here. Let's open one more. So we'll go to File Explorer and we'll do kind of like we've been doing. If you haven't done much resizing, here's another example of how to resize stuff. If I grab, well, I can always grab on the right side and do this. I can grab at the bottom and do that. But if I want to resize kind of like both at the same time, I can grab from here. And so I want to get my Duff M showing like we've been doing in other videos. And I'll bring it down here to the bottom right hand corner. And now I'm going to take a screenshot. I'm going to bring it into Paint, and I'm going to save it in the folder. I'll even show you what folder. It's right here. It's lastname.navigate Windows. That should be pretty good to get you started with turning the computer on and where to go to save stuff. We're going to get into naming files and file management in the next video. But until then, good luck and go to work.